Alright guys, here we go. Welcome back. RX-7 right here. This is a part 2 of this video. Previous video, we installed the sandwich plate, the GlowShift brand, and we got the wire tucked in underneath the fender all the way to the firewall on the left side, and then we'll go across the dash on the right side. Same thing with my boost gauge. I got the line ran from the manifold here, tucked in at the back, the firewall, and then ran all the way to the hole right here. There's a hole right there, factory hole inside the fender, back into the firewall, across the dash on the right side. So today, GlowShift day. It's not sponsored, but if you guys watching GlowShift, I got more project coming up that needs some gauges. Right over there, I got 200 preludes. Right, back on the RX-7. I'm gonna show you what I've done wiring this gauge here. So we got the boost, we got the oil pressure gauge. Here's the wiring. It ran underneath this housing right here, this A-pillar gauge holder. It's just chilling right there. It needs double-sided tape. I don't want to put bolts in here. There's a screw. I've seen people self-tapping screw they put in there, or rivets. I'm gonna put a double-sided tape. It looks clean. It's gonna look awesome. I'm gonna show you what I've done. Here's the wire from the oil pressure sensor. Here's the hose from the boost gauge. So that's run into the gauge here. Here's the wire. This is the oil pressure gauge wire, and this is the boost gauge wire. So this is the wire that we're gonna get ground, get power, constant volt, and get power when the key is on. And this orange one right here is a dimmer, so that you can dim this at the same time when you dim your cluster. So on this RX-7 right hand drive is different than a left hand drive wiring system. I got the left hand drive here and it's not even close. So we'll start with that dimmer wire. I put two wires together for those two gauges. Anything that you dim your gauge or your cluster, you tap into a power source. So in my case, here's my dimmer wheel switch right here. So I would like to tap it in there on the power side with this, run a wire across, but I'm not taking this whole dash cluster apart. Someday if I work on something here, work behind here, and that's when I'll run the wire. But right now the most important thing is the ground. I got the ground wire right here. Somehow I pulled this wire out and it's ground to the housing of the vehicle, so I'm gonna use that. And the yellow, I believe, is a constant volt. So the yellow here is when the engine is off, or when the everything is off but you have power still. So that's where you tap into the fuse block right there, the circuit. Put two fuses in there. And then the red is when you have 12 volt power when you turn on the key on the on position. All right, so I tap into my fuse block circuit right here. This same thing on the left hand drive RX-7. So when I use my JDM chart right here, it's not even close. Everything is all mix and match. Can't use this, but I kind of figure out, I use conversion, Japanese to English conversion, and it gives me this result right here. All right, so on my chart here, I find out using a multimeter, 12 volts, finding a 12 volts while the engine is off and everything is shut off. I test this fuse right here, and that's the fog lamp circuit, and that's what I'm gonna tap into there when the engine is off. When everything is off, that still feeding 12 volts from the battery, this one right here. So that's gonna be my yellow wire. And then this one right here, I'm not sure, this blue or this yellow one, those are the same thing. Those are the one for the red wire is constant 12 volts when I turn on the key on, engine off. But when the key is off, this is 0 volts. Okay, so make sure you have voltage on that when the key is on but the engine is off. So those are gonna be the red wire, and that would be this guy right here is the red wire, and then the yellow wire is for the constant 12 volts when the car is off. So let's tap into there, and then we're gonna ground the black, and the orange one leave it alone, that's for dimmer. The one on the top left, second from the left. So the key is off, the engine is off. We'll touch this here. So there you go, you got 12.5. okay, 12.5 constant 12 volts. All right, so the next one we're gonna test is this 2 fuses right here. I can't remember which one that we need to test, but I know both of these fuses have the same function but different circuit. So voltmeter 20 gauge. So let's tap into this blue one. So this sticker here is when the key is off, 0 volts. So let's try that now. Yeah, 0 volts, key is off. Same thing on the yellow one, the key is off, is 0 volts. All right, so you can see there's no voltage on that multimeter. Okay, so that's what we want. And then when we put the key on, when the engine is off, there you go, we got lights on the gauge, the cluster, radio. So go back down here, tap into the blue fuse again, and you can see we got 11.9 volts. Same thing on the yellow one, 11.9. all right, so those circuit right there, those are for the red wire we have here. Okay, so voltage when the key is on, this red wire, and then the yellow wire is constant 12 volts when the engine is off and then the car is off. All right guys, so let's put a fuse in here. This is a 15 amp fuse, double fuse in there. There's one and there's another one, just like that. And then the next one, same thing. I'll put 15 fuses in here, 15 amp double fuse. All right, let's go put this in there on the fuse block. All right guys, so first one is the red wire. Hopefully you can see this red wire right there. Let's tap into this circuit right here. All right, it's gonna sit like that. And then the last one is this yellow wire. Tap into this circuit right on top right there. All right, so it feels like it won't go in there because of the angle of the fuse. It's hitting the housing, and then if I go upside down, this wire right here is hitting this gray housing, so I have to relocate my feed line for that fuse. I'm gonna have to find another one, so we'll just put a fuse back in there, and then let's go to the next one. All right, so I found another constant 12 volts when the car is off. This will be the yellow wire. So I found it right there. That circuit right there is for the door lock. Took the fuse off, and then we'll tap in this line right here. There you go. Constant 12 volts, and this one is 12 volts when the key is on. All right, let's go up top. Let's test this out, see if this wiring works. All right, so let's put the key on here. Well, there we go, we got power. On the video it's flickering, but on naked eye, it's solid pictures. It's really sick, guys. Check it out. You can change the color. My God. Green, red when you're angry. When you go full boost, you could change the red. And when you're just an easy kind of guy cruising, green, purple. I think that's purple. My daughter's favorite color is purple, so I'm gonna see that purple bike right there. She's gonna love that. All right, so that's the on position, and then I got a turbo timer on this, so that's why power is still on. I got the key. Eventually will turn off. Pull down the e-brake, it will come off. It's like a dead man switch right there on the e-brake. Try again. Has a little delay on this one right here on the oil pressure gauge. Our dimmer is not hooked up, so all right, let's crank this up here. Let's get some reading. Start the engine. So you can see my oil gauge got buried because it's only up to 100 psi, and this pump on first startup is like 120 or 125, but you can tell it's going down. It's going down. There's my dash cluster gauge for oil, and here's the one that's gonna give me a good through reading. On my boost gauge here, you can see just 0, 5, 10, 15. There's no negative 5, negative 10. Right now I'm on negative pressure because of the I'm idling negative. So when we hit boost, when we go for a drive, let's see how this thing reacts when we hit boost. So super excited to go for a drive, show you guys how this thing works. Just double checking everything, make sure no leaks. Alright, so slowly the oil pressure dropped to 60 now. When this thing warm on a original temperature, it's gonna idle to like 15 or something like that, or 20. Hi Jassy, what you got there? Food.
Daddy, you want water?
Sure. Thank you, Jassy. Okay. Alright guys, I was gonna go out for a drive, but it started to rain. Oh my God. The car should be okay. It's pretty soft. Yeah, it's pretty soft. So we're just gonna have to postpone the drive test and hit boost so we could check out this boost gauge in action. But for now, we're just gonna leave it how it is. Stay tuned for the next video. We're gonna go for a good run on this RX-7, and we'll check out the gauge here. So GlowShift, awesome, good product. I love it. Good details on the installation of the wiring and plumbing. So awesome, good job guys. Thanks again for watching, and make sure to subscribe, and see you again on the next one.